Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Heather. I'm a wife and a stay-at-home mom to two amazing daughters and a dog, and this is my first What's for Dinner video. I have tried to make these since I started my channel a few months ago, but I just haven't been able to put one together, so I am happy to finally do so. The first meal I'm preparing is, I called it chicken and pesto, but basically it's breaded chicken tenders with a side of pesto pasta and a tomato salad, which is like a really refreshing but filling meal for summer that we have a lot. So I'm just getting my breadcrumbs out and getting my egg kind of mixed up, and it's really simple. Dip the chicken in the egg and in the breadcrumb and get it into a nice hot pan. Now I cook the chicken on medium for this because I don't want it to burn in the pan. If your pan is on high, then your breadcrumbs and stuff might cook too quickly and your chicken might still be raw inside, and we like our chicken well done around here.
This is love if I think I've gone crazy. This is love if it seems I don't care at all. That your love hit me like a cannonball. I used to worry about my options.
Okay, now I'm just getting some Parmesan cheese grated for the top of the pasta. I'm not really sure if that's for cheese or like for lemon zest, but anyways, I use it for all kinds of stuff. Now I'm just throwing together this tomato salad. These tomatoes and cucumbers are from my mom's garden, and they're just the best thing about summer food in my opinion. So I'm just getting these sliced up and some cucumber and avocado. I would like to add red onion to this, but my husband is not a huge fan of raw onion, plus I didn't have any on hand.
This is love if I'm making you breakfast. This is love if I feel myself coming down. You're not around.
Okay, now we're just coming back to flip the chicken. I probably let it go like 4 or 5 minutes without touching it, just so it gets that nice crust. And then I threw my pasta in some boiling water. This is the pesto that I made that I used on top of it. I will make a video showing you how I make my pesto, but it's just really traditional way. So now I'm just throwing the tomatoes on a plate, and the things that I just put on them, I keep it really simple. I just put some salt, pepper, balsamic glaze, and some olive oil on top of these, and it was so delicious.
When you're not here, the sun don't shine. When you're not near, I don't feel like I do when you're with me. It felt like suddenly our souls collided, hearts entwined when I decided.
Okay, here is how the dinner looked plated. It was so good. On to dinner number 2. I made tostadas and elote, which is like a Mexican street corn. It was so good. The first thing that I wanted to prepare was this dip that I serve kind of on top of the tostadas. So basically it's cilantro, avocados, fresh lime juice, salt, and the secret ingredient to this is actually shredded cabbage. If you want to buy a head of cabbage and shred it yourself, go for it. It's probably super good, but I just got some angel hair shredded coleslaw at the store for it. But basically you just mash it all together, and it gives this kind of guacamole dip a really good crunch, and just makes it a really refreshing topping. You can also eat this with chips too. It's really, really good.
Too much, I think too much, but with you I forget my worries. Behind me they can't touch me now. Yeah, that's how do I know if it's love that I'm speaking of? This is love if I'm making you breakfast. This is love if I feel myself coming down.
Okay, now we are on to the meat. So this is just a beef chuck roast that I got on sale at Safeway. I really didn't know what to do with it, and to be honest with you, it probably would have been better if I like chopped it into little pieces and cooked it on the stove, because it didn't really shred, so I kind of cut it into chunks. But I mean, it was still good because it had the flavor and everything. Basically, I just put a little bit of the chicken bouillon with tomato, some garlic powder, bay leaves, salt, pepper, and some chili lime spice. And I threw it in the Instant Pot on high pressure for 30 minutes, and then I let it manual release for 15 minutes before I opened it back up.
When you're not here, the sun don't shine.
Okay, now we're getting started with our elote. So I just picked up some corn on the cob from my local Safeway, and now I'm just washing it and rinsing it. I actually have this brush from my juicer that I have to scrub the straining part of it, and that's what I use to scrub the corn, because there's always those few little fine hairs left, and they're so annoying to bite into. So I just get my brush and scrub them really good, and filled some water up in a pot and got that going on the stove. Now, the secret to like perfectly boiled corn, in my opinion, is just bringing your water up to a boil and then putting the corn in there for about 5 minutes. No really more than that, and it's like perfectly crunchy and good. Then I am just throwing some canned beans on the stove. I actually used some of the beef broth to thin this out. When I was growing up, I never thought about thinning out beans, but I saw my mother-in-law, I think she added milk to them one time, and I was like, oh, that's such a good idea to kind of thin them out. So that's what I have. And then on the tostadas, I started with beans, and then I put cheese, and then I put some of the meat, and then I added all of our toppings. So for myself, I put more cabbage, and then I put some of that guacamole cabbage mixture that I made, and some fresh salsa on top. And then on the corn, I just mixed some mayonnaise with lime juice and chili lime seasoning, and then rolled it in cotija cheese and topped it with a little bit more of the chili lime seasoning, and it was delicious.
I'm speaking of. This is love if I'm making you breakfast.
Okay, dinner number 3 is chicken francese. This is one of my husband's favorite things that I make. So the first thing I wanted to start off with was getting the potatoes cut up. Now, my husband doesn't love super smooth mashed potatoes, and neither do I. I kind of like having some potato texture in it instead of just something creamy. But if that's your thing, do creamy mashed potatoes. It will still be delicious. But I'm just getting these gold potatoes cut up into chunks, and for some reason that one, there was like no potato left when I was cutting it. But I'm just getting that into the pot of water and onto the stove, and then I'll move on to the chicken.
When you're not here, the sun don't shine. When you're not near, I don't feel like I do when you're with me.
Okay, I'm just getting my chicken breast into a freezer bag and then pounding it until it's probably a 1/4 inch thick, I want to say, because my husband and I both enjoy like a more thin piece of meat rather than this like big thick piece of meat. And it just makes it cook evenly, and it tenderizes it. And if you've never pounded your chicken breast before cooking it, you should really try it, because I think that you'll find that you like it a lot better as well.
This is love if I'm making you breakfast. This is love if I feel myself coming down when you're not around.
Okay, so a chicken francese can be more breaded, but for my recipe, I actually don't add that much breading. So all I'm going to do is just put flour on the outside of the chicken and then dip it in egg and throw it in the pan. So there is no bread crumb in this recipe at all. And it gives the chicken like this really interesting flavor. It's kind of like, it's a little bit crunchy on the outside, but it's really not. It's kind of soft. I don't really know how to explain it, but you guys should definitely try it. Also, I put some fresh parsley and a tablespoon of water into my egg wash to kind of make it mix well. And the parsley, when it cooks with the chicken, it just gives a really good flavor, and it does give some nice color to the outside of the chicken as well. After we bread those, we're just going to put them in a hot pan. I do cook this over medium heat, so I just throw the chicken breasts in there and let them start to cook while I get everything prepared for the sauce. So the thing that makes chicken francese so delicious is definitely the sauce. It's like a lemon, garlic, parsley sort of sauce. So you use 1 lemon for the recipe and you thinly slice half the lemon, and then you need probably 2 tablespoons of parsley, another tablespoon for the eggs as well. Then I just get 3 or 4 cloves of garlic chopped pretty fine. I use this zester / cheese grater / garlic grater that I like to have on hand, and then just give the rest a good chop. And then once we flip the chicken and cook it for probably another 4 minutes on that one side, I want to say, then I take it out of the pan and put it on a plate. And then here's where we build our sauce. So we put our lemons, and you actually let the lemons kind of cook and deglaze the pan with the lemons, and then you flip those over, and that's when I kind of scoot them to the side, add some more olive oil and a little bit of flour so that we can build just a little bit of a roux. It's not a super thick sauce. If you want a thicker sauce, then add a little bit more flour and oil. Then I just put my garlic in, saute that for a minute, and then add probably close to 2 cups of chicken stock. You could do half chicken stock, half white wine, but I didn't have any white wine on hand, so I just used chicken stock. And then I threw in probably half of the parsley that I had left, so like a tablespoon. And then you just put this sauce on medium and let it reduce for, I want to say 10 minutes.
This is love if I think I've gone crazy.
Okay, while your sauce is reducing, this is a great time to get your mashed potatoes ready. So I just drained my potatoes, put a little bit of butter, and that Kinder's Buttery Steakhouse is literally the only thing you need for potatoes. Then I am putting my chicken back in. Now we like our chicken well done, like I said earlier. So I actually cover this and let it kind of cook for another 5 minutes. And then I get my mashed potatoes all mashed. And yes, I am using a ground meat masher for my mashed potatoes, but it works perfectly fine. So now I'm just throwing together a salad for my husband and myself. He likes tomatoes, but he's not a huge fan of them, so I absolutely love them. So I put some of those on my salad, and for him, I just had lettuce and avocado. Then I am just going to plate this up. So I'm gonna add my potatoes, chicken. These lemons are actually perfectly edible in the sauce too. I mean, you might wanna leave them out, but I just think they look really pretty. And that is it for this recipe. It was so good. This is definitely my husband's favorite out of all these recipes, and I think it was my favorite too. Something about the lemony chicken and the sauce with the mashed potatoes was so good.
All that your love hit me like a cannonball. When you're not here, the sun don't shine. When you're not near, I don't.
Okay, our next recipe is ciabatta chicken sandwiches and zucchini fries. So the first thing I'm going to get going is the fries because they're gonna take the longest. So I preheat my oven to 450 degrees and then I just grab a zucchini. These are also from my mom's garden, so I like to eat them, all summer long while they're available to us. So I'm just getting those cut, and I do cut part of the middle out because that part in the middle is just full of seeds and so much water. So in order for these to kind of get nice and crispy, you want to cut some of that middle one out, especially if you have like a fatter zucchini like I did. Then I just get some egg and breadcrumb and flour going for them. So we are going to first dip them in flour and then the egg wash and then the breadcrumb and just set them on our baking sheet.
It seems I don't care at all that your love hit me like a cannonball. I used to worry about my options, yeah, I used to think too much. I think too much, but with you I forget my worries. Behind me they can't touch me now. Yeah, that's how
just spraying these with a little bit of olive oil spray before I get them in the oven. I baked these at 400 degrees for about 30 minutes. Now we're gonna get started on our chicken. So I just took my chicken breasts out of the fridge, and now we're going to get our rolling pin and pound them so that they're in like a nice, even, thin layer. I'm sure there's other more professional looking things that you can pound your chicken with, but my rolling pin works the best for me, so that's what I use. We're just going to also bread this chicken, but I don't use the flour. I skip the flouring step for a lot of times when I bread chicken. I just go egg and breadcrumbs. Makes my life easier.
Feel like I do when you're with me. It felt like suddenly our souls collided, hearts entwined. When I decided to make you mine, I'm never going back. I know that's a fact, but how do I know if it's love that I'm speaking of? This is love if I'm making you breakfast. This is love if I feel myself coming down when you're not around. This is love if I think I've gone crazy. This is...
Okay, now we're just gonna get this chicken in the pan. I do want to tell you guys that whenever you're breading chicken, always make sure your pan is nice and hot before you put the chicken in. Mine is over medium heat with a little bit of olive oil in the pan. It will definitely give you the best results. Now, I do have some of my leftover pesto from earlier in the week when I had it with pasta, and I wanted to put it on the sandwich, so I just added a little bit of mayonnaise to it and mixed it up, and now, ta-da, we have pesto aioli. So that is just how you can switch up any sort of sauce that you have if you wanted to use it on a sandwich. Also, if you're making sandwiches, if you dress the greens with something, it just takes it to a whole nother level. So all I did was just take some of our shredded lettuce and add a little bit of Italian dressing to it, and it just makes such a difference when you're eating the sandwich. So you guys should definitely try that. I also wanted to get a little bit of red onions and tomatoes cut up for the sandwich. I love red onions on my sandwich. I know that not everybody does. My husband absolutely hates raw onions on a sandwich, so that was just for me. And then I sliced the ciabatta, got it toasted up. I also flipped the chicken and added some provolone cheese on top of it and just let that melt. And then I built the sandwich.
When you're not here, the sun don't shine. When you're not near, I don't feel like I do when you're with me. It felt like suddenly our souls collided, hearts entwined. When I decided to make you mine, I'm never going back. I know that's a fact, but how do I know if it's love that I'm speaking of? This is love if I'm making you breakfast. This is love if I feel myself.
Okay, then I just cut the sandwich in half, and you guys, these turned out so good. You should definitely try this recipe, and if you do, let me know. Here's what we had for dinner this week. Today's Friday, so we're probably going to order in or let the girls pick or something like that. But thank you so much for watching this video. Please let me know if you liked any of these recipes or if you end up trying any of them, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.